So today we're reading from the Customs and Courtesies section of our Mexico reading all the way to the end. Greetings. Mexicans usually greet with a handshake or nod of the head, although friends commonly embrace. People may also shake hands while saying goodbye. Women often greet with a kiss on the cheek, and men may greet close female friends in the same way. Common verbal greetings include buenos dias, good morning, buenas tardes, good afternoon, buenas noches, good evening or good night, and como está, how are you? A casual greeting is hola, or hello. Mexican males often make piropos, which is flirting and passing to females, to which the females generally don't respond. Mexicans commonly have more than one given name and two last names, for example, José Luis Martínez Salinas. The next to last name comes from the father and functions as the official surname, while the final name is from the mother. Coworkers address one another by professional title followed by the first surname, so Dr. Martinez. Acquaintances or coworkers without a title or addressed as señor, señora, or señorita, followed by the surname. Respected elders are often addressed as don or doña, followed by the given name. Gestures. Mexicans typically stand close to each other while talking. They often use hand and arm gestures in conversation. Indigenous peoples may be more reserved around foreigners, or Mexicans from big cities. A person can indicate no by shaking the hand from side to side with the index finger extended and palm outward. The thumbs up gesture expresses approval. Tossing items is offensive. One hands items directly to another person. If someone sneezes, a person may say salud. If passing between conversing individuals is unavoidable, it is polite to say con permiso, or excuse me. It is considered important to say gracias for any favor or service rendered. Visiting. Mexicans are very hospitable. Unexpected visitors usually are welcomed and served refreshments. Refusing refreshments can be considered impolite. Unannounced visits are fairly common, but as more people get telephones, it is becoming common to call ahead to ensure the hosts are home. Mexicans enjoy conversing and socializing with friends and relatives. At a dinner party, the meal might not be served until after 8 p.m. because people work late and enjoy socializing before eating. Guests are expected to relax and do not offer to help the host unless it is evident that help is needed. They stay for conversation rather than leave directly after the meal. It is considered rude to depart without taking leave of the hosts. On special occasions like Mother's Day, gifts are important, and in some areas, serenading is still popular. Eating. Although schedules for eating vary, many Mexicans eat 4 daily meals: a light breakfast, an early lunch, a main meal in the late afternoon, and a light snack called a cena or merienda at night. The main meal may consist of a soup or salad, main dish, and dessert. Eating as a family is common. Urban professionals often eat meals at restaurants or street-side stands. Food purchased on the street usually is eaten at the stand where the item is bought. It is inappropriate for adults to eat while walking on the street. Spicy food is called picante, while hot temperature food is called caliente. Picante dishes are often eaten with bland foods like bread, tortillas, or rice to help relieve the burning sensation. When eating, Mexicans keep both hands above the table. Some foods are eaten with utensils, while others are eaten by hand or using pieces of tortilla to scoop the food. Meals usually aren't rushed. One should always ask to be excused when leaving a table or room. Lifestyle. Family. Except in urban areas where the trend is to have smaller families, Mexican families generally have more than 3 children. Family unity and responsibility are high priorities. The divorce rate is relatively low, partly because of the dominance of the Catholic faith, which does not approve of divorce. In many families, the father is the leader and provides economic support, while the mother is responsible for the domestic duties. However, in some ethnic groups, the mother is the leader, and more women from almost all groups are entering the formal workplace. Rural men and women often work together in the fields. A household, especially in the rural area, may include members of the extended family. Children generally live with their parents until they marry, and sometimes even after they marry. Housing. Most Mexican dwellings, especially in urban areas, are box-like rectangular buildings with few frills and little greenery. People try to make up for the lack of lawn outside by hanging lots of flowers and plants on the walls. Because of earthquakes, People in both urban and rural areas now build houses using cement blocks and steel bars, which are often left protruding out of the roofs. Building a house is generally done in stages. Often Mexicans will buy a site, put down the foundations, and sometimes build one big multi-purpose room. They'll continue the project as money becomes available. Mexicans typically decorate their walls with pictures of ancestors, wedding and graduation photos, and religious art, especially of the Virgin Mary. In poorer urban homes, the sleeping area may be separated from the rest of the house only by a curtain. Rural dwellings used to be made from adobe or stone, materials ideally suited to the Mexican climate. The recent move to urban-style cement and brick buildings has come at a cost. Such homes are like ovens on hot summer days and refrigerators on cold winter nights. Dating and marriage. When dating, a young man often meets the young woman at a prearranged place, rather than picking her up at her home. However, parental approval of the activity and of the boyfriend is important. In some rural areas, it is considered a mark of poor character for a young woman to go out alone after dark, so a young man may call on her at home. Many people marry first in a civil ceremony and then in a church, following the Catholic tradition. Wedding celebrations include music, dancing, games, and food. Common law marriage is also practiced and recognized. Teen pregnancy is common, and unmarried women tend to keep and raise the child with the help of their parents. Life cycles. Most Mexican babies are baptized. The performing of this religious ritual is a focus of a major social event attended by numerous family members, friends, and padrinos, or godparents. Although legally a Mexican girl does not reach adulthood until she turns 18, her quince años, or 15th birthday, has traditionally marked that transition. The quince años is part religious ceremony, part big party. There are exceptions, usually among rich families in the big cities, but most Mexicans do the bulk of their mourning in their homes and bury their dead within 24 hours of death. On the way to the cemetery, female mourners dressed in black carry white flowers. 9 days of community prayer in the home of the deceased follows the burial. When these days are over, a cross is carried to the cemetery and placed on the deceased's grave. Diet. Staple foods include corn, beans, rice, and chiles. These typically are combined with spices, vegetables, and meats or fish. Some foods and dishes are regional, but others are common throughout the nation. Cornmeal or flour tortillas are eaten everywhere. Other common foods include tortas, hollow rolls stuffed with meat, cheese, or beans, quesadillas, tortillas baked or fried with cheese, mole, spicy or sweet sauce served with meat, and tacos, folded tortillas with meat or other filling. Popular soups include pozole, pork and corn soup, birria, goat soup, and menudo, spicy tripe soup. Enchiladas or tortillas filled with meat and covered in a chili sauce. Tamales are cornmeal dough stuffed with meat, cheese, fruit, or other filling. They are wrapped in a corn husk or banana leaf and steamed. People often make homemade fruit drinks, but commercially produced soda is everywhere. Popular Mexican foods and restaurants in the United States are definitely very different from those in Mexico. Recreation. Football, or soccer, is Mexico's most popular sport. The national team has competed in several World Cups. Bullfighting draws the next highest number of spectators. Professional wrestling, or la lucha, has a large following. Popular participation sports include baseball, basketball, tennis, and volleyball. Mexicans enjoy their own form of rodeo called charreada, which is often accompanied by a fair-like atmosphere. Many recreational activities include music and dancing. Day-long fiestas and week-long festivals nearly always feature fireworks, feasts, and bullfights. Watching television is a favorite leisure activity, especially in the urban area. Telenovelas, or soap operas, are very popular. The arts. Song and dance are integral to Mexican society. Originating in Mexico, mariachi music has found many international audiences. Mariachi bands vary in size, but generally consist of a singer, violins, trumpets, and various guitars. Corridos, or songs that tell stories, and ranchera are other forms of traditional music. Mexico has become a major recording and distribution center for the Americas. Dancing, such as the jarabe tapatio, or Mexican hat dance, often accompanies traditional music and fiestas. Revolutionary themes dominated all types of the art in the first half of the century and remain important today. For example, brightly colored murals commissioned by the government in the 1920s and 1930s decorate public buildings. Diego Rivera and other Mexican artists inspired muralist movements worldwide. Museums feature the art of ancient civilizations as well as fine art. Textiles, pottery, and silverwork are popular and can be seen in many markets. Holidays. National public holidays include New Year's Day, Constitution Day, February 5th, which also marks the beginning of Carnival, the week of parties and parades that precedes Lent. The birthday of Benito Juarez, which is on the 21st of March. Labor Day, May 1st. Cinco de Mayo, May 5th, which celebrates the 1862 victory over the French. Independence Day, September 16th, which is marked by a presidential address in El Grito, the Cry of Freedom, on the evening of the 15th of September. Columbus Day, or Dia de la Raza, which celebrates indigenous heritage, on October 12th. Revolution Day, November 20th, and Christmas Day. Many offices often close for a half day on Mother's Day, around May 10th, when schools sponsor special festivities. Major religious holidays include St. Anthony's Day, January 17th, when children take their pets to the church to be blessed. Semana Santa, Palm Sunday or to Easter Sunday. Corpus Christi, May and June, and Assumption on August 15th. During the period known as Dia de los Muertos, or the Day of the Dead, November 1st and 2nd, families gather to celebrate life while they honor the dead, sweep graves, and build special altars to honor the newly dead, and place items on graves to accompany spirits on their journey to heaven. There is the Day of the Virgin of Guadalupe on December 12th, and Noche Buena, Christmas Eve. They're so popular that most offices and businesses honor them as public holidays. Christmas celebrations begin on December 16th with nightly parties or posadas, and on the Day of the Kings, January 6th, when most children in central and southern Mexico get their presents. Each town also has an annual festival that includes a religious ceremony, meal, and dance. Many people try to get home for these events. Society, government. Mexico's federal republic of 31 states and one federal district operates under a central government led by a president. At the time of this reading, it was Felipe Calderón. While states technically are autonomous, the central government controls sectors like education, security, and national industry. A president can serve only one 6-year term, and a legislator cannot serve 2 consecutive terms. The legislature is composed of a 128-seat Senate and a 500-seat Chamber of Deputies. Voting is considered a duty for adults 18 and older, but is not enforced. Economy. Service industries employ the highest proportion of Mexicans and create the largest part of the gross domestic product. Although heavier industries like mining, manufacturing, and petroleum are also important. Pemex, owned by the Mexican government, is one of the world's largest oil companies. Tourism brings in several $billions each year. 1/5 of the labor force is employed in agriculture. The economy has seen some growth since 1993, when Mexico signed NAFTA with the United States and Canada. NAFTA lowered trade barriers and increased the number of maquiladoras, or border industries, where the United States investment employs Mexican labor. Economists are divided on how much NAFTA has helped Mexican economy. Although some sectors have grown, others, like agriculture, have been harmed by competition from duty-free, heavily subsidized products from the United States. In addition, maquiladoras have drawn some criticism for not meeting typical United States guidelines for wages, safety, and environmental regulations. Mexico has also entered the free trade agreements with the European Union, much of Central America, and Israel. The 2008 economic crisis, which started at the United States, spread to Mexico, bringing a sharp decline in exports to the United States, tourism, and remittances sent home by those who left Mexico. The government has taken steps to reduce unemployment and stem inflation. Most Mexicans have access to basic resources, and economic opportunities are fewer among the indigenous, rural, and southern populations. 40% of the population lives in poverty. We don't really have to worry about the last 3, but feel free to read them. Go back to today's lesson, make sure you watch the video on Dia de los Muertos. It's so interesting. And make sure that you also take the quiz testing what you've learned.